Hey everybody, Papa Wiggs here with Wiggs. We're going to talk about Thursday's game, the Bills and the Dolphins. This is going to be another good game. I think the both teams are coming off a win. Uh, Listen, you know what? Wiggs and I both are picking the Dolphins. It's hard for me to pick against Josh Allen, but I don't know. I think they're gonna. I think Josh might struggle again in this game, and I just got to give the edge to the Dolphins uh, on this one. They're at home against them. I think that's going to give them the advantage. I know that two of their running backs are banged up a little bit, so you guys want to keep an eye on that. Uh, Neither one of them practiced. They're starting. Neither of their backs that played the most in the last game, Achani and Mozart, practiced. So you got to keep an eye on that. One thing to remember is if for some reason they don't play, that's going to increase the value of Wilson and Wright going into this game as potential sleeper options if neither one of those guys or one or the other is out for the game. So keep that in mind when you're looking at adjusting your lineups for Thursday's game. So I like, I just like the Dolphins in this one. I think the Bills are playing a dangerous game in regards to having to come back in the second half on a consistent basis. Josh Allen's he did practice today, but he did bang up his hand. I don't know how big of a deal that's going to be. Uh, with that being said, I'm giving the advantage to the Dolphins because they're at home, and I think that they're just a little bit more cohesive on offense right now. So I can see them kind of tearing into Buffalo's defense, especially if they have one or both of those running backs. And if Achani's able to play, the Bills have struggled against the rush. I think they're going to struggle against both Waddle and Tyreek. So on the flip side, I think Josh Allen will. I don't think he's going to have the same kind of performance that he did last week against the Cardinals. I think he's going to struggle a little bit more, even in the second half. I'm hoping Kincaid will have a little bit better game than he did last week. I think that Cook is still going to be a big part of the offense, and I think Keenan Coleman's going to be, still the top guy that Josh is going to look at in the, out of the receivers. So, Wiggs, what do you think?
I think going into this game, we'll see what like kind of Buffalo offense we're gonna get for like these tough matchups. Losing Stephon Diggs is kind of a major loss there. Nothing against the other receivers there. I think Keon Coleman's a really good receiver, and I hope Josh Allen finds him a little bit more in this game. But Shakir and Samuel, I'm not really sold on. Hollins, he'll just be hit and miss there. Like he'll get the ball, do his thing, but for me, in this game. I it'll be it'll show like a true test here for the Bills, and like I'm excited to kind of see that. If Josh Allen can string some things together with Keon Coleman and James Cook, along with Dalton Kincaid in that offense, I think they could keep it somewhat close. I'm not banking on it because I do think this Miami offense is insanely good at all times. I mean, Tyreek's just a freak of nature. Any given time, he's going for 60, and I feel like it's almost every week he ends up doing that. And then you got Waddle there as a wide receiver too. They're going to be really hard to guard. And then even if their two running backs are hurt, they have two capable backup running backs behind those guys that I think will be pretty solid in the run game as well. So overall, I easily have to give the edge here to the Dolphins just for the simple fact that their offense is better. I think their defense is a little bit better as well. And I don't know. Josh Allen's going to struggle, like you said, but who knows? He loves to run the ball, make plays happen. I could see people like Keon Coleman, who I consider a sleeper going into this game, popping off a little bit more. He had an okay first game. He was targeted the most, had the most yards, but wasn't like a standout performance like I thought he was going to have in that first one. But I think this could possibly be a game where he receives the ball a good 7 or 8 times because they're going to have to throw it a lot. I think James Cook he's going to have an insane game as well. Because again, I think they're going to have to throw the ball a lot because I think they're going to be playing from behind from the get go.
Yeah, one thing to note for everybody that's got Curtis Samuel, he's dropped down on their depth chart. He's actually not even listed as one of their top three receivers anymore. Mac Hollins actually leapfrogged him to number three. Shakir's listed as their number two, and Coleman's listed as their number one. I don't put a lot of weight on that, but I think Wiggs and I touched on this when we were talking about our wide receiver rankings that we weren't kind of sold on Samuel this year going in there, and maybe it was just a quiet game last week. I just think it's a sign of what's to come with him. I think that these other guys are going to be more productive. Um, so just something to keep in mind. And Mac Hollins to me is um, uh, is a sleeper option. I think Keenan Coleman's actually a flex option now going forward. I think that's just my opinion. Obviously, if you got a better option at flex, you'd wanna do it. But I could see Keenan actually being a flex option going forward. I think Mac Hollins is definitely a sleeper for the Bills in this one. Like I mentioned last time, I know he didn't have much of a game and wasn't very active. Keep an eye on what Ray Davis does too, going in this game. He's a potential third down back, and as the weeks go along, I think you're going to see him become more involved in this offense. So for me, I think this is going to be a high scoring game, Wigs. I really do. I think it's going to be. It wouldn't surprise me if this is like 42-35. I just I think both defenses are still kind of suspect a little bit. You know what I mean? I'm not sold on either one of the defenses. I think that whenever you got Tyreek and Waddle and those guys, you got a chance for those guys to break off a couple big ones in the game. I think Josh Allen, like you said, Wiggs, he likes to make things happen, so he's going to be moving around. I really think the defense is going to be out the door in this game. I could be totally off my rocker, I think that this is going to be a higher scoring game. So I think it's going to be Dolphins 42, Bills 35, something like that.
See, I was thinking like 35 for the Dolphins, 21 for the Bills. Like, I don't know, something about this matchup just makes me feel like the Dolphins are just going to pull away from them in it. Um, I don't know. Like, you can't stop Tyreek Hill, and I don't think the Bills will maintain him at all. And even if you do, you still got Jalen Waddle to deal with. And it doesn't, they got four capable running backs on that team as well. Like, I don't think it really matters who's running the dang ball. They're going to have success running the ball. Um, I don't know.
I just think there's the Josh Allen factor. I think that Josh Allen wills this team to win, but I think that there's just some games where they're just not going to be able to do it. And when you're playing an explosive offense like the Dolphins, I don't think he's going to be able to do it. No, nothing against Arizona, but last week, Arizona's offense is going to progress throughout the year, but it's not a Miami Dolphins offense. So I think that um, Allen was able to will his team to a win, but I just don't see that happening on the road against the Dolphins. But I do think that they put up some points. But I see your point. I could see it going either way.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. The only question I would have is if it does go high scoring like that, who do you think should be like the X factor on that offense then for Josh Allen?
I think Coleman is going to be the X factor. I really do. I think that Coleman uh, is going to keep. I think his stats, like you said, Wiggs. I think his stats, his receptions, his targets are going to go up each week as Josh Allen feels more comfortable with him. I think that Kincaid's targets are going to go up. I just don't think he's too talented not to throw to him. So And I agree with you. I think James Cook is going to have a monster game because he's going to be hugely involved in the offense, both rushing and receiving. I just I'm like you, Wiggs. I got a good feeling about Coleman. I think Coleman is going to be one of the standout rookie wide receivers this year, and I think you know he as each week goes by and he gets more comfortable, gets more used to the game speed of the NFL, and Josh Allen builds confidence in him, right? Because you know how quarterbacks are. You know, we watch it all the time. If he sees that Coleman's making the catches and making the plays, Allen's going to get him the
Yeah.
ball. And so I think that's a huge factor in this one. So um, I think it's going to be a great game. It could go either way, but I give the edge to the Dolphins.
Yeah, I'm gonna give the edge to the Dolphins there as well. I just think they're just better in this matchup. And I think they're catching the Bills early on in the year, which I think for them is the biggest factor because the Bills are still unproven and they're still getting into the flow of things. And I think the Dolphins already showed they were in the flow of things in their first game, so I just think they have a slight upper hand right now on the Bills. So
Yeah, and last week, you'll probably see here, Wiggs and we didn't have the greatest week picking the games. I edged them by one. I had eight winners. He had seven. I don't. To me, it's really week one's always the toughest. And anybody that picked a lot of winners last week that says that they could predict what it was, I'm sorry, that was luck. Because you never know what's going to happen in week one. So, anyways, yeah, we'll see how this week goes and where we end up after this week. So, Wiggs, do you got anything else to add?
well,
All right. Well, hey everybody, we appreciate you tuning in. Check us out, Fantasy Fools PPR on YouTube. Uh, we're also on Snapchat, X, TikTok, Instagram. Subscribe, like, share. Hopefully, you're finding this content useful. And until the next time, well, we'll see you soon.